Hello everyone and welcome to my sweater tutorial. This is the first time I have ever done a voiceover, so bear with me here. I'm not entirely sure how to fully do this, but I'm gonna give it my all. And let's just jump right in, and I hope you guys enjoy and find this useful. So here is my pattern that we'll be working with today. It is for Ipple House YD Girls. I made it myself, and just with these kinds of patterns, they're easy to make yourself. I just basically used my doll's measurements and drew it out on some paper, and there we go. So for the fabric today, we are going to be working with a sweater that I got at Value Village. It was $4.99, $5, and it is a sparkly knit material. To start off, I like to detag the entire thing and then find all of the seams and go by the seams and chop it up. And that's pretty much my method for all human clothes that I turn into doll clothes. You're going to want to save all of the edges on the sweaters because that is super useful when you are hand sewing, especially with knits, and you can't create a nice solid edge because hand sewing is very difficult. So here I am taking the front part of the sweater, just one half, and I'm cutting off the end to save for later. You're going to want to fold it inside out and make sure the edges are even, and then lay your pattern down and leave about 1.5 inches of length off the end of your pattern. Yeah. Pin it. Pin your pattern down, obviously, and then you're going to want to cut it out. Now once you have it pinned and cut out, we're going to be doing the neckline here. So what I do is that I put my ruler down, I measure about halfway through, and then I stick a pin, and then I start cutting, and I only do about half of a C, so like half of the little neck hole, and then I fold over my fabric, and I use the what I just cut as the way to make sure that the other side is even and perfect, because I line up the edges and then just chop that little bit off right there. Now we're going to take the end from the neckline that we saved earlier, and I like to pin it to make sure that it is even all in, like I didn't cut it unevenly when I cut it off. And we're going to take it, line it up. Sometimes you have to cut off a little bit, and make sure that it is the same length as the end of your sweaters, and the front and the back of your sweater. Now once you have that done, we can move on to the sleeve. So I take one sleeve from the sweater, and I leave it folded and intact, and I just cut off the end like we did with the whole front and the back. Make sure you're going to want to find the seam like I'm doing here and have the seam folded towards you, because we're not going to be wanting to use the part that's got the seam on it. Take your pattern, I leave about 1 inch off the end, pin it down and cut it out. You're going to want to make sure that your piece is folded, because otherwise you'll have to cut out 2 of these pieces, but you want it to be folded. Then take your piece you just cut out, lay it flat with the other side so you can cut out the second sleeve, and make sure that the ends are all even, because you want to make sure the sleeves don't end up one's too big for the other. Once you have them cut out, you'll have your sleeves, and then you can do the same thing that we just did with the front and back of the sweater, which is you're going to want to take the neckline, what used to be the neckline, or you can even take the part that was off of the sleeve or the ends, but you'll have to cut them down. But I prefer to use the neckline here because it's a lot shorter and smaller, and just easier to work with. And so you're going to want to cut them to fit each side of each sleeve. Now you're going to take everything apart with all the pins, Make sure when you're doing this, you know which side is like inside versus outside. That's very important. When you're pinning the edges, you're going to want to make sure to pin it in a way where when the fabric folds over, you get your seam on the inside. So what I do is that I pin it actually on what would be the outside of the sweater, and then fold it over. So you'll be able to see what I do here. Yeah. So once you have that all pinned, do that with the sleeves and the back or the front. And then you'll want to sew it. Well, actually, you'll want to make sure that the ends that you pinned, the side that's going to be sewn is the rough side that you cut, not the side that was finished on the sweater. I'm sorry if this is confusing, it's hard for me. Yeah, see, there's the good end right there that we have that's not pinned down and won't be sewn, and that's the side you'll want to sew on. And I just usually go through and I double check with all of my pieces because I have made this mistake before. We're good. Yep, just jump right in, sew them all together. And now that it's all stitched on all of our edges, we're going to want to pin the sleeves on and start sewing them. And this is another one you have to watch out and be careful for, because if you pin them wrong, yeah, here. So this is what would be the outside of the sweater. See how we've got the seams folded inside? You're going to want to make sure that the outside of the sweater is facing you when it's the front or the back piece. But when you pin the sleeves on, you want the inside of the sleeves to be facing you, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But then once you have them pinned correctly, you can go ahead and stitch just right along that edge right there. And when you have both sleeves pinned on one side, go ahead and repeat with the other. We're basically sewing it inside out, so that's the way you want to keep that in mind. Once you have both sides sewed on, you're going to want to pin the top, that's the shoulders area, and stitch that together. Leave the neck hole alone. We will be dealing with that later, but you just want to focus on the little shoulder areas. Now that that's stitched together, you can finally pin and make sure you pull out your little ends there that don't want to come out because they want to stay folded over. But once you have all of that done, you will want to pin right along the sleeve and down the side of the sweater and stitch right up right through there. And now we should be done with the sweater, except for we do have to do the collar. So you want to turn it inside out for this. And what are we going to do with this collar? I think we're going to do a turtleneck today, because I think those just look great on kind of like Christmas tacky sweaters. So again, I take the neckline from the old sweater, and I did cut it down a little bit because I didn't want it to be too long. And that's optional. You can leave them as long as you like and just fold them over, or you can cut them down shorter. There are several different other ways to do necklines, but this is just the way that I preferred to do. And then you'll want it, yeah, see, make sure it's nice and long. You'll always need more than you think you do. And then go around and pin it just like we did with the ends, where you're going to want to have it where when you fold it up, you'll have your seam on the inside, just like that. Just go ahead and pin it, sew it, but do not sew the back parts together quite yet. We'll want to make sure that the seam for this will be on the back side of the sweater. So fold your collar up. Make sure that the ends line up. This took me a second to make sure where it would be in the right place. Cut off any excess, and then you'll want to pinch those two ends together on the inside and sew them up. This is how it will hold your collar up instead of it flopping back down. And now your sweater's done! It's complete and it's ready for decorating. It's lovely, it's nice and stretchy, and it would even just be cute just like this. And look at how much extra fabric we have left over. We could make a whole nother sweater, or even two if you're working with MSDs. You know, this is great. I love buying fabric from Value Village. Now, all of the decorating materials. We have fun, festive pipe cleaners here in all different kinds of colors, and some black ones. I really love to use these because they're super glittery and just they look great. Then we've got pom-poms in various sizes and shapes, and we do have some glittery ones as well. These make very fun textures, and you can make creatures out of them. Then I have this like candy cane kind of like string, miniature Santa hats and wreaths, and also I do have felt, but I didn't use it for the sweater. A string of little mini fake Christmas lights, and then a bag that has a bunch of bells, googly eyes, and stray little Christmas lights in them. Now I'm taking my hot glue gun for this. I find that it works best, but you can use fabric glue too. I just like to be quick, and I'm going to make a snowman. Now when it comes to decorating, you can do with whatever you want on these sweaters. They can be as cute as you want, or as gaudy and tacky looking as you want. That's what I love about this craft. And I will show you some of the other ones that I have made with my other dolls at the end. But I just like to keep mine more on the cute side than really like, you know, the heavy tacky side. Giving my little snowman here a Santa hat and cutting out his arms. I decided to do Sharpie for his little facial features because I didn't have pom-poms small enough. You could use beads as well. And I gave him a couple buttons out of a cut in half pom-pom. Decorating is the most fun part of these sweaters. I love it so much. I decided to put a ring of Christmas lights around the collar, just to add a little bit of bling and some flair. And then let's give, we want to do something else here, but let's give our other snowman another snowman buddy. I think he looks a little lonely. He could use a friend. Now, if you do decide to use this tutorial and make some sweaters for your dolls, I would absolutely love to see them. So please tag me on Instagram at adelles.dolls. I will also put the name here in text so you can see it. But here we are done decorating, and I think it turned out adorable. They look so happy and cute. I wish I did have little carrots to do on the noses, but let's see it on a doll now. Yep, here we go, fitting Danielle, who is a medium bust YID. The sleeve length is perfect, the sweater length is perfect, and I really like how the neckline looks on her. She looks so cute. And then here is Lacey's sweater. She is a small bust YID, and I used felt on hers and the googly eyes. I actually, for the reindeer, I cut out felt using a stencil that I made, and then I used the little googly eyes, a glittery pom-pom, and stitched his mouth on, and those are real little jingle bells on him, so whenever she moves the sweater jingles. And for Josh, I did the same thing for the Christmas tree felt, used pipe cleaners for the tinsel, little pom-poms for the ornaments and the lights, and then a glittery pom-pom for the star. So then onto Lacey's little hat here. I just wanted to show you. I found this at Ben Franklin Crafts, and it looks really cute. So that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!